Good morning and welcome to another encouragement for your day. We are still looking at Psalm 4 and David, king, sometimes prophet, some writer, singer, shepherd. David is very open before God. There are a number of times when he complains to God, and these psalms are called lament psalms or complaint psalms. Psalm 4 is an example of that. And in it, he makes a complaint. He says, O ye sons of men, how long will you turn my glory into shame? He's talking about people who have come against him. He's talking about people who are not following the ways of God. He is talking about people of the world. If you read on in Psalm 4, you find that it takes place perhaps in a time of harvest, a time that when it's supposed to be joyous, a time of great rejoicing in very agro-based communities. Even here in our side of the world, harvest festivals are usually celebrated with much joy. But we also know that sometimes harvest doesn't come in as it should. Sometimes plants that we plant don't grow well, or sometimes there's too much water or there's too little water, there's a drought in the land and we don't get the harvest that we need. And those times, instead of being times of great joy, they turn out to be times of frustration, times of pain. You and I know the kind of agony that we go into when sometimes we work so hard and we put so much into what we are doing, and it does not yield the kind of blessing or the kind of return that we hope for. Psalm 4 verses 2 and 3 is a contrast between the people out there and God's children. What's the difference? When difficult times come, as this psalm describes, when the harvest fails, when the fruit of your labor does not show as it should, there are probably two ways you could go. According to this psalm, O ye sons of men, how long will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love vanity and seek after deception? Psalm 4 says that in days of trouble, when the harvest does not do so well, these people in the world, they look at their neighbors, they look at the people who lived in the land before them. They see that these people pray to different gods. They pray to Baal, who was a god of fertility, that he may send rain. And so they wanted to hedge their bets. They say, okay, we'll pray to God, but what we'll also do is, if he doesn't deliver, because God can't be predicted, we will also do something for Baal and hopefully he will send some rain. And then these people then turn the glory of God into shame, because instead of being children of God, there are people out there. Perhaps you've heard the saying, be pragmatic or be practical. Do whatever it takes. But for God's people, for God's children, that is not the way. Verse 3 says, I know the Lord has set me apart for him. The Lord has set the righteous apart for himself. The word the Lord here is Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God, the God who remembers his children. And so David is able to pray and say, why do you want to go running after things that are empty? Because the people of this world do not know God. They run after wealth, they run after treasure, they run after building up a name for themselves, influence. And at the end of the day, none of that counts. The only thing that counts is God himself. So David is able to say with confidence, I'm not going that way. I'm not going the way of the world, because the Lord has set apart the righteous for himself. He will hear when I call him. Now that is confidence. If your day becomes difficult, if your day becomes dark, temptations will abound to go the other way, to go the way that everybody says. But the righteous, the Lord has kept for himself. And we may say with confidence, he will hear me when I call. May this word be an encouragement to you in this day. Amen.